Our sportsNOLA.com trivia question. Gary Kubiak became a Super Bowl winning head coach Sunday. How many former NFL quarterbacks have gone on to become Super Bowl winning coaches? We've got A. Are we right or wrong? One is the correct answer. There you go. Sean Payton, Gary Kubiak, and the one we were waxing over and skipped over was Tom Flores. There you go. So, and by the way, none of these guys were prominent or even starters in the league. So it's kind of like the baseball manager mentality in baseball. That's what I was thinking about, Brian.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's always the backup guy, the Tony La Russa type, right?
I agree.
As compared to the guy that was a star. The stars are said not to be able to handle players because they were so good and they expect that out of players. I don't know. Maybe that fits in here too.
Yeah, I agree.
It is time now for our sportsNOLAtv hot seat topic of the evening. It's a hot topic too. We're not going to shy away from it. Should Cam Newton get a pass, no pun intended, for his behavior Sunday? If you want to extrapolate that out before the game too on Sunday, you can do that too. So fire away. We're going to do so, and we're going to start off by putting Brandon Walsh on the hot seat and letting him start this entire conversation, which ought to be a good one. Brian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, this is a good one. First off, get a pass. Cam would be better off completing a pass or completing more passes on Sunday. Might have helped his team. Look, right now he's a hot take on us in social media, and people are butchering him. And generally or normally, I might do so. Believe it or not, I grew to appreciate Cam Newton this past season more than the previous four. But that said, look, if you sleep in the bed, if you sleep in the bed, you make it, or whatever that saying is. If he has been speaking and saying outlandish things all season long, really for most of his career, he's been able to back it up this season. MVP season. There is no denying that. He had an incredible season. But with his language and behavior and the things he said leading up to the Super Bowl, not only was the spotlight on him, but it was on him big time after some of the comments he made. And look, he's entitled to say what he feels, but he's also, yesterday in the way he played, he didn't play well, but nobody played well in Carolina for the most part. But you've got to be man enough to sit at the podium and deal with it in a very adult way. Emotions run high. Everyone has those kinds of emotions, and 99% of the people deal with it. Cam just had trouble dealing with it, and he didn't behave well. But I'm not going to hold that against Cam Newton for the rest of his life. To me, it's the most important thing for him to do now is how he deals with this and comes back and acts as a leader and a player. Look, there's a reason why he is the franchise player for Carolina. Ownership likes him. Teammates like him. There's a lot of people that have a great deal of respect for what Cam Newton is and has done. And I'm not going to throw more mud on him right now. He behaved poorly, but he's a young man, and I hope that he learns from it and comes back and becomes a better person.
Ricky?
Well, I'll tell you, just looking at the game yesterday, he didn't have a great game, and he put a lot of pressure on himself leading up into the game, and that's why I think he made a mistake at it. He made it be more about him than the team, and once you do that, the fall is greater and harder, and you can see that yesterday. He took the loss hard because he didn't play well, and you know that a lot of people kind of put the game on his shoulder and blame him for the poor play. So, right there, he got kind of defensive a little bit, and anything anybody said to him, he was already rattled. So, just like he was rattled in the game because he didn't play well. So, you just have to take your hat off to him. He had a great season, like Brian said, but, he got to learn from his mistakes, and he got to know that it was a team game. Peyton Manning didn't go out there yesterday trying to win the ball game by himself. He kind of worked the team and let the team win the ball game. And I think Cam I'll get that, and I think he got a great future in the head of him. And, we just got to wait and see now, do he get a shot again to get back? Marino never did get a shot to get back. So, and he played in it early like Cam. So you just got to wait now to see, do he get another shot at it?
I think in closing and passing the torch to Kenny on this one, I think us in our business and really in our country, we're quick to build heroes. We're quick to put people up on precipices and define them as heroes, but we're just as quick to tear them down when they don't live up to our standards. And I'll tell you what, many of the people who are criticizing Cam Newton today are the very people who perhaps bet on Cam Newton or picked Cam Newton in Carolina to run away with this game. And so it's as disappointing for them, okay? But Cam, you had a very big platform to finish strong here, and you didn't do it.
Before I speak, Ricky, I've got to ask you, he injected race into the conversation prior to the game. Is that an appropriate thing to inject? Do you feel like he is being judged because of the color of his skin? Do you feel like there's genuine prejudice against him?
No, I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. What I seen was he had an opportunity to go out there and be a quarterback and play the game, and he just didn't do well. I mean, you know, everybody, you know, they try to bring the race card up, but in this case, in this situation, the race card didn't play a factor at all.
And now I've got to render a verdict on this. Right. It's pretty obvious that everyone is entitled to his or her own opinion. It's also obvious that when people sit in judgment of someone, they should look at themselves in the mirror. It's also obvious that I have no idea what's in the hearts or minds of other people. I know what's in my heart and what's in my mind. I'm a sinner saved by grace. I've made mistakes in my life, and I've judged people wrongly in the past for whatever reason. Wherever they came from, the color of their skin, how much money they made, regardless of what it was, at some point in my life, I've made mistakes. I'd like to think that saving grace has come over me and changed my view of things. And I came to really appreciate and understand Cam Newton and why he does what he does and acted the way he acts. But he doesn't get a pass for his behavior on Sunday. What he did prior to the game was draw attention to himself, injected race into the conversation, talked about I and me. Nobody's ever done anything like I've done before. Really? I saw Fran Tarkenton do that 40 years ago. I saw Randall Cunningham do it. I saw Steve Young do it. Ricky can certainly speak to that. I see Russell Wilson doing it with another team that reached a Super Bowl. By the way, Russell Wilson is an African American who doesn't draw attention to himself and as humble as can be, win or lose. He was the same guy after they won the Super Bowl as he was after they lost the Super Bowl with Seattle. To wear the gold shoes before the game, MVP splattered all over it, his stats on it, that's all about I and me. You can't have it both ways. If you draw attention to yourself, if you seek attention, if you desire attention, and you covet attention, then when it's time to get the bright light shine on you after a loss, you got to act like a man. You're a professional. For those who say youth is an excuse, forget it. He's 5 years in the league. He just got named MVP. He's your player, representing your league as the best player in your league. You just gave him the award, and he goes out and acts like anything like the MVP. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with youth. It has to do with immaturity. And as we close, I'll say this. This is a forgiving nation. We're all forgiving. If he just comes mea culpa and says, wrong, didn't handle it right, I'll make it better, people will let it go. Back to talk Pelicans in just a moment on Sports NOLA TV.